Hello, welcome to the Wazuh Docker deployment tutorial. Docker is an open source tool that will allow you to deploy containerized applications. There are many benefits to software containers, which include increased security, compatibility, consistency, and less resource consumption when compared to virtual machines. In this tutorial, we will cover how to deploy a Wazuh Manager integrated with the Elastic Stack on Docker, which can be adapted for use as a production-grade security platform. First, we install a Docker server. This can be easily achieved by running the install script as shown in our documentation. This script will automatically set up the Docker repository and install the Docker Community Edition package. Note that it will be necessary to use a 64-bit system. After installation has completed, we start the Docker service using our system's service management tool. Next, we will install Docker Compose, which will allow us to define and run multi-container Docker applications. This is done by downloading the Docker Compose binary, giving it execute permissions, and placing it in a folder of our system's path variable. The command provided in our documentation will automatically determine the appropriate executable to download for your system. We can verify the installation has completed correctly by querying its version. Before we continue, we must increase the memory that our system will allow virtual machines to use. On Linux systems, we can use sysctl for this. Download the latest Wazuh Docker Compose file from our repository and start it up by running docker compose up. We can also use the -d modifier to run it in the background, but for this video, we leave it running in the foreground for illustration purposes. This operation will take some time as it downloads and extracts each of the container images from the Docker Hub. The default ports being used by Wazuh and Elastic will be automatically exposed, and we may access the Kibana web interface by pointing a browser to our Docker server's address. A warning shows up indicating that the certificate provided is not signed by a certificate authority trusted by our browser. As this is expected, you can safely ignore this. The default credentials are foo_bar. Within the web interface, we will be able to monitor and manage our Wazuh installation. We can go to the Agents tab to get instructions for deploying an agent to monitor an endpoint with Wazuh. For example, we can monitor the computer running the Docker server itself. First, let's specify the address of the Wazuh Manager. Then, copy the command and paste it onto the server. This will download, register, configure, and start the service of the Wazuh agent. We now have a Docker-deployed Wazuh server integrated with the Elastic Stack. You can add as many endpoints as you wish to monitor by going into the Agents tab, clicking on Add Agents, and repeating this last step. Containers are designed so they can be removed and replaced with an updated version of their components and continue working. In order for files to survive this life cycle, volumes can be specified in the docker compose.yaml file. For example, we can create volumes for the Elasticsearch data folders for the Wazuh configuration files or change the configuration of the services. To achieve this, we will first create the folders that we will be using. Since Elasticsearch will write as the user with ID 1000 and group ID 0, we need to make the data directory accessible to this group. And then we add the volumes to our docker compose.yaml file. For the Wazuh configuration, we can add a volume to the Wazuh service section by first specifying the path of the folder in the server, followed by the path of the folder in the container, and finally a suffix C to mark this volume as private. And for Elasticsearch, we can do the same. You may also change variables like the web server's access credential by setting the nginx name and nginx pwd variables within the nginx service section. Finally, there are many utilities to manage the containers. In order to access the containers themselves, you may list them by using docker compose ps. and you may open a command line prompt on them by running docker compose exec service name bash. For example, we can go into the manager's container with docker compose exec wazuh bash. We hope that you have found this video useful and that it will allow you to configure the Wazuh open source security platform in your environment. If you have any questions, you may contact us in our Slack community and we will help you with your queries.